Hello, I'd like to take you on a tour of my visual art journal. Some people might call it a chunky notebook, some might call it a junk journal. But as you'll see throughout the pages here, the style of it is kind of unique and doesn't really fit into the mold of the junk journal, although I do have some influences of that and are learning a lot about junk journaling. So here's the cover. This was done in a graph paper composition notebook, and I use a lot of the elements that I'm doing in my classrooms. Like I was covering comic books, so I have a little speech bubble here, and I take items that I pick up and find around the house, or I reuse. This is a signature of the 45th President Donald Trump that was included on some materials in my school that they were disposing of. These stamps I purchased from Whatnot. It's an app. I don't really like to purchase too much. I like to kind of find things as I go and add a lot of my writings. So the story with this notebook was, originally I used it in college pursuing my master's degree for a class, an independent math study on math and art. So I did a lot of geometric shape drawings, and then that's when I decided to add to it. So you have a lot of fruit, vegetable stickers, family photos, different, I tried to add a lot of geometric shapes, different stickers that I've come across, and sometimes I win giveaways, or things that just come from everyday life. I like that I go through a lot of what I have in my house and kind of process things and use bits and pieces of it into the journal. And like I said, it helps me process things. So, a pile of papers that might be sitting there otherwise, I will feel inspired to take pieces of it and put it into my book, and then, maybe recycle the other portions of it. This is something that I do in my class. I'm a New York City public school teacher in District 75. I teach art and photography, and I use this book also to inspire my students to create their own journals and make them autobiographical. This is a lot of doodling that I've done for a long time, since I was a teenager, and I feel like doodling really helped me get through school when I was, maybe struggling to fit in, or, helps me pass the time. As you can see, I have sometimes I'll use like specialty scissor edge, and then I add on some ink from an ink pad to create another, dimension or border to the stamps. These are all my original writings. This one says here, "The revolution starts at home." This is a story that I heard on the radio, which may or may not be true, about a 3-foot worm in Canada that's predatory and a danger to children and pets. So, just as I would a written journal entry, I pick up things along my day and find things that I'm connected to, and add them into my journal. This I found at an estate sale. Also this here too. I acquired this book at an estate sale, and I've been cutting a lot of the female figures. These are like French poster And I sort of stuck with the theme of geometry for a long time in the beginning processes of this book, in which I should add, this book is still a work in progress. So I don't always do one page at a time. I sort of add one layer to many pages throughout the book. This I just picked up today at a Trash to Treasure sale at my local cemetery, and I got some trimming, lace. This was all of this tissue paper here that you see sticking out was from my daughter's party decoration a few years ago that I was holding on to, and it really worked out well as a layering piece. You'll see a friend of mine was moving and gave me a bunch of books. This one had a lot of mathematical kind of machine illustrations that I really love. I love anything mechanical. I love cameras. Besides, creating these books, I also do a lot of mixed media art, graffiti, photography. As you can see here, there's a lot of collage in there. I do a lot of stamping. I try to inspire my students to do stamping because, you don't have to necessarily have the skill of drawing to be an artist, right? And I try to include things that tell my story. So like this is the wrapper to a maxi pad that was given to me by my ex-mother-in-law, and it was my ex-husband's sisters who passed away, and I received a lot of these, and this was like one of the last ones. And I used this around the age of 45, where now I'm coming into my midlife, and having 2 children. I'm sort of putting that phase behind me and entering into a new chapter of my life, where I'm not, looking to have any more children. This is a watercolor paper which I dyed with coffee and then added some, I believe this was like a tie-dye type solution. And I mixed acrylic paint with cornstarch for the first time to create this stencil paste. However, I think later on I decided that it was best to use Mod Podge, because you do see some cracking here and it does flake off with that paste with the acrylic. This is again another thing I took from the same estate sale as the one I mentioned before. Adding an envelope. This was a gift from my coworker for the end of the school year. Different pieces of a children's dictionary, some of my writing. I use double-sided tape a lot, so different elements of supplies that I use in my work. This one is like a clear, I like to use these clear pockets a lot that hold photos, let's say, or you come across a lot of packaging. Everything is like mail order these days, so I try to save a little bit of it and reuse it. This is some old sheet music with a postcard, a piece from that same French poster, and some set of stickers that I won from a giveaway, which is like a wall decal. This was really a nice project that I did with my students. I did stamping and some, like faux finish painting on paper. My writings. I use this book a lot to jot down different ideas that I have. This in particular is a segment that I do on my friend's YouTube channel, the Tacos channel, and you know, just using this to brainstorm. This was that decoration I was telling you about from my daughter's birthday. So a lot of the pages I glued the tissue paper to, and it creates a nice texture as a base. This is some typewritten work documents that I found in that same estate sale with all of these photos. And a pocket. Some stories that I wrote. Different ephemera that I hope to utilize more in the days ahead. Collaging old pieces from books. I found this newspaper in my basement. This is also a stamp with some stickers and another poem. This is coffee dyed watercolor paper. This was packing material from a reseller that I bought from, and some sheet music, some pieces from a dictionary, and that mechanical book. Another pocket. This was a round piece. I guess it goes like for scrapbooking or what have you. So I feel so bad to rip apart some sheet music, so maybe I'll get over it in time, but for right now I wanted to keep it intact. You know, certain things that I'm going to try to work on. I was just working on this just now, so I left something in it so the pages don't dry together, since I just glued her in. All different greeting cards from people I love. This was an old newspaper again that I found in the basement, and this is me giving it a rest. Different stamps on the coffee dye. This page kind of looked terrible at the beginning. I just sort of smeared paint on it, but I like how it's turning out. It may not be finished yet, but I started this with just sponging on paint to show my students how, again, you can create artwork, you know, in unconventional ways, and sort of just sponging on the paint and then looking at it as if you were staring at the sky and seeing what the clouds made out to you. This was another similar example. It always sticks together. But I just threw some paint on the page and then added on layers to it. Added some dialogue to the sponge painting. Drawings that my daughter did. Pieces of Polaroid packaging from the film, from an event that I did in my school. This is like cyano type sunprint paper, left over from a class that I taught. Well, I hope that I've inspired you to maybe create your own book. And I hope to update you as I add more into mine. Thanks for watching.